Hello, gossiper Sharona here. So we're gonna talk Britney Spears and her ex-husband, the father to her two sons, Kevin Federline. Now, a couple months back, I did do a post of Kevin coming out with his own memoir titled, sorry, You Thought You Knew. So now he's making his rounds on different circuits, telling stories about Britney, his relationship, stuff like that. So, he's telling one and two stories, but of course he's not going to go into details because he needs people to buy his book. So I'm going to play you this quick excerpt from E.T. where he was doing an interview with Kevin Frazier. So hopefully I won't get strike for this, but we're just going to take a quick look at this video and then we'll go from there.
It's the day before your wedding, and Brittany is on the phone, and she's crying. What's going on?
The one thing that I wasn't expecting is she told me that she was on the phone with Justin. And I just kind of stepped back like, what the hell? I'm like, damn, on the night before our wedding, this is what you decided to do.
That's a hell of a red flag, though.
Oh, dude, man, you telling me now?
You think she was still in love with him?
In love, I am not sure, but not over it.
So yes, you heard what Kevin had to say. So again, his new memoir is called You Thought You Knew. So with him going and making the rounds, I'm going to read this quick article from TMZ on some of the revelation that he makes. Again, this is from his point of view, what he went through with Britney. So it says, Kevin says everyone in the family, including Britney's two sons, Sean Preston and Jaden James, are concerned for her well-being, and he says his new memoir, You Thought You Knew, is a cry for help to gain support for Britney and their kids. K-Fed says folks need to read his book to truly understand his thoughts on the conservatorship, but he says the boys want their mom to be around for years to come and want a relationship with her. Kevin says the family's been vilified for their roles in the conservatorship, which he called a difficult situation. But he says everyone is united in wanting Britney to be happy and healthy. Now, I would think, why isn't it being done now to get her this protection to do something for her and not for people to read the book to see how bad it is? We've seen videos with Britney. She loves to post her videos in her bikini dancing with knives and, just different stuff like that. So we do know that Britney is not, I don't want to say totally there, but there is something going on, right? So it shouldn't take us reading the book to find out, that she's in a place that is somewhat severe. We don't need to know that. What you need to do is make sure that whomever she's around is people that she can trust or people who has the best interest for her. Again, we shouldn't have to read your book to know what's going on with Britney. And that's her privacy. Why are you spilling the beans on her privacy, right? So, let's continue to read. Speaking of red flags, Kevin's memoir recalls that popped up the night before their wedding. So we just read that right there. So basically, not read. We just saw that it's with Justin Timberlake. It also said he also dished in his memoir about the time he walked in on Britney and another woman in Amsterdam. I did not know that. Now I'm trying to remember if I've ever heard a rumor that she might have been with girls, or to be honest with you, I can't remember. So me hearing that now is like, okay. We've been covering Kevin and Britney for 20 years at TMZ, and here he sounds more mature than ever before. You gotta watch a full interview on TMZ Live to see how he responds to some serious shade thrown his way by Britney and another of her exes, Sam Azagari. Yes, so Kevin, I'm not quite sure. The memoir comes out on the 21st of October, which I think is Tuesday, right? And you have people commenting like, "Get a job, you're a loser." And I know Kevin Frazier, who interviewed him on Entertainment Tonight, was saying, people are saying you're upset with Britney because you got cut off from child support and everything like that. And he's like, no, that's ridiculous. Why? But let's go back into some of the stories that he's telling in the book. So back to Britney and her alleged affair with a female dancer. Now he's saying it's a female dancer and he caught them in Amsterdam. He writes in the book, Britney and I went to our room, but shortly after she said she'd be right back. At first, I didn't think much of it. The hotel floor was ours. Ooh, they booked the entire floor. They had booked it out for the entire tour, so everybody's room were nearby. As time passed, I began to wonder what was taking her so long. Eventually, I decided to check if everything was okay. I stepped into the hallway, our door still cracked like most of the floor, and headed toward the elevators. As I passed one room, I glanced inside and froze. There she was. Teresa was sitting on the edge of the bed. Brittany stood between her legs, hands on her face, and they were expletively, you know what I'm saying, going at it, full on making out. It was one of those moments that hit you so fast your brain can't even begin to process it. You just stand there, stunned, not sure what's real. I didn't say a word, just stood there watching. For a second, nobody moved. Then they both looked at me and I turned and walked away. My heart was racing, but not with excitement. It was something colder, a sudden clarity. This wasn't what I signed up for. So I got the hell out of there. As soon as I got back to our room, I grabbed my suitcase and started packing. At that point, I cared nothing else. I just wanted out. So she was kissing a girl. I thought he walked in on them having sex or something. Kevin, what's going on here? Here I am thinking he walked in on them butt ass naked doing the do. But, you know, phew. So he went on to say that she begged him to stay. She tried to stop him from leaving, and he said I could tell she meant it, but I was still furious. So I guess she said she was, sorry. He said I wasn't interested in a relationship that involved more than two people. So right now they were just making out, nothing sexual. Is that still bad? Of course. If he's your husband, boyfriend, and for him it's a committed relationship, and if that's not something you wanted, then you could have told him like, look, Kevin, I'm into girls. This is no commitment. You'll be my only guy, but I have to have my cake on the side, which is a girl. But yeah, the way it made it sound is like she was in a full blown, like, going at it with this girl. But yes, and then Brittany, her rep, gave a statement, and it says, with news from Kevin's book breaking, once again, he and others are profiting off her, and sadly it comes after child support has ended with Kevin. All she cares about are her kids, Sean Preston and Jaden James, and their well being during this sensationalism. She detailed her journey in her memoir. So, yes, they're saying with Kevin, it's a money grab, and like I said earlier, with the child support thing, they're saying it's because of child support, and he was saying no. So, gossipers, yeah, we're gonna end it there because there's nothing much to say. Now, how do I feel about Kevin personally? I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because when you're dealing with a celebrity, especially when you're not as popular as that celebrity and they already have their fan base who's willing to fight for them, then it has to be a lot of pressure on the spouse to keep up with someone like that, right? And as far as I know, he's been taking care of the boys. The boys are not in the news that they're bad kids, right? Even before they turned 18 to make their own decisions, him having them, because he basically raised them, we never heard anything about him being a bad father or the kids was out of control, nothing like that. So we do have to give him some credit, right? For taking care of his kids, not just her kids but their kids, and he did that. So I didn't want to be one of those to judge because we don't know these people. We can only know by what social media puts out there, and sometimes it's not true. Even when they talk about these sources, sources says, sources this, and it could just be someone making up a story and they just use, that term sources just because they know it will get a response or something. So I can only go by, if I'm going to go by social media, we haven't seen anything negative posted when it comes to Kevin and him being a father to their sons. Now, we've seen posts where people go in on Kevin, accusing him of, getting her pregnant on purpose, allegedly, things like that because of who she is. But, to personally attack him to say he wants this, that, I mean, everyone has their story to tell, right? And we might not like it. We don't know if it's true or not. It's coming from him, what he experienced with her. And again, as I said with Britney, we've all seen it. And that's the strange thing. We see Britney with videos with the knives and dancing almost naked. And sometimes she looks like she's tired or she's on something. And you hear people complain like, oh my God, we shouldn't have taken her out of the conservatorship. Look at Britney now, this. But then you have Kevin coming to you and saying what you're thinking. But because of who he is and what people say about him, it's like for him to say the exact same thing that you're saying about she needs help, then it's like it doesn't matter because we don't like him because he did this or did that, or gossip said he did this, social media said he did that. So we have to be careful. I mean, gossipers, what are your thoughts? Everyone wants to make money. Everyone's gonna tell their story. Like I said, true or not, you're gonna have people who buy the book just to be nosy, just to see what's going on. I personally don't do all that. I have no time doing all that. But yeah, tell me your thoughts and question. Do you think there's something wrong with Britney? I know Britney. I don't follow her like that. Whenever there's news on Britney and what she's posting or dancing, again, social media, or if I go on YouTube and you get those little snippets from different stations, then I'll see it. I'm like, oh, wait, Britney is having fun. I just say that. I just say she's having fun. Now, I wouldn't want to. I don't like seeing her with knives and stuff, but I'm just like she's having fun. She's not hurting anyone. That's why with him, I'm surprised at is he indicating that she's doing stuff that can take her out, right? Because if it's just a video dancing and everything like that, excluding the knife, I don't see where that will say take her out or something. So he has to know if something, or he can only assume there's something going on behind closed doors for him to say that he's worried because he wants the mother of his sons to be able to grow with her kids, if you get what I'm saying. So unless he's trying to hint at something but he doesn't want to say it out, because one, the reaction from people, two, you don't know if it's true, and three, it's his side, her side, truth in the middle, and all we have to do is just pray for Britney. Again, her videos not harming anyone, But for him to want to ring the alarm, then there's something else going on that we are not aware of, allegedly. So, gossipers, what are your thoughts? So, as always, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching and listening.